Hello, Daniel, naturopath. Wanted to talk today about, let's see here what we have, magnesium and cholesterol. Um, there's a connection between the two, especially magnesium deficiency and cholesterol. Um, there's some people, if you know anything about the research for statin drugs, which is the how to stop cholesterol, like the bad cholesterol. And so I'm not pushing statin drugs because I don't believe in that. It's like trying to stop something, and then it picks up over here and then it picks up over here, you're trying to step on something or sweep it under the rug or whatever. So this is not a good philosophy. There's a natural statin. Magnesium is a natural statin in the sense that it has the same effect, but it actually helps control the lipid peroxidation. It helps control the health and the preservation of the good lipid structures that encase all of our cells and nerves on down to the plastic neuroplasticity of the synapses on down to other tissues, muscle tissues, etc. The teeth, bones, even the collagen. Every part of the body has this magnesium cofactor in all of the enzymes that are making these conversions, etc. So there's magnesium dependent enzymes all over the place with the magnesium itself built into the structure. So magnesium has a structural thing, and then on top of that it has an active viscosity if it's in high quantity in your daily life now. And you can have lack of structural integrity because of previous magnesium deficiency. And so then so the whole thing is to fix this, and they keep it fixed. And so that way over time, the structural stuff is lining up at the same time that the viscosity and the active form of magnesium is there now, so we can use that now with a better and better structure over time. So that's one of the keys. And it's a long game to a certain degree, but there's also quick relief too, which is amazing. So we get both. And so I don't know what I wrote down here. There's also, people know that, if you look up magnesium and cholesterol, you're going to find that it regulates what is it called? The HMG-CoA reductase, which is responsible for the production of cholesterol. So that's like a direct link right there from its connection to cholesterol and how that's produced and the regulation of such. But that's not the end of the discussion. But that is one of the key pieces of it, is how through that enzyme this cholesterol is regulated. Now, why? That's another story. Like, why is it regulating it this way or that way, and what's happening in the body and whatever. Is magnesium producing a certain viscosity, which is allowing for a better uptake and offload of these molecules and therefore better delivery, so less is being needed. That's why the deficiencies of any one of these things can help a deficiency of another. They've found that with magnesium, for example, the better levels of active magnesium that you have in the body, intercellular magnesium, the more that the vitamin D levels that you have are maintained and are properly used and reabsorbed and or reconverted from its storable form to its active form in the fat tissues. Like, that whole mechanism is more efficient if the magnesium is high. So then it's like, well, we got higher magnesium, and now the magnesium, the vitamin D levels are dropping less than they were before. Wow. And that's just because these things are holding each other in place. They're allowing for better uptake and offload and conjugations and bonds and things which are going to create a more efficient structure all around. So they're connected, and like, we should take a lot of our natural cures and natural foods and natural medicine, naturopathy and stuff. We should take a lot of that in a trifecta way, meaning a threefold way. We should try to use 2 or 3 of these substances at once and watch what happens, because that's how we increase our synergy in the natural paradigm. In the allopathic paradigm, they just throw everything at you with all this intensity, and it does all these things. So in a natural paradigm, we can't just give one thing sometimes. We have to give 3. And those 3 are starting to work much faster, and this is the threefold remedy that I speak about in other podcasts if you want to look that up, which is the K2 from emu oil, the vitamins A, D, E, and K from from the cod liver oil, which has been fermented, only fermented cod liver oil, and then the transdermal magnesium from Zechstein inside a blue glass bottle. So those three work together in that synergy. And those can take 6 to 7 months to get out of the deficiency of all of them. So they need to be rotated until you get out, and then they'll drop you off and let you go a little bit, and they'll be less expensive over time, and you won't have to go as crazy or whatever. But you got to get yourself out, right? That's the first step. And so, so I don't know, let's see. Let's see what we got here, what I wrote. Regulates hydrolysis. And so the hydrolysis is going to be key for, if you take something that's water soluble, fat soluble, liposoluble, and then you render it water soluble, and then thus excretable or different, storable in a certain way, in certain types of tissues, or more transportable to certain areas or whatever. So this process is hydrolysis. And so there's like a magnesium dependent enzymes, heavily magnesium dependent enzymes are responsible for the hydrolysis. And so not only in the hydrolysis, but also in the maintenance of the lipid structure to keep the lipid peroxidase from happening. It's also maintaining what has been pulled out. So it does that for vitamin D, from converting it from hydroxylation, converting it out of its inactive forms to its semi-active storable form to its more active full form, liver, kidney, and then all the cells. But the way it works with cholesterol is the same way. The way it's able to get that molecule into different states and allow for its preservation once it's brought down into hydrolysis into different compositions that are needed by the body. So, cholesterol is like a master hormone for sex hormones and testosterone and estrogen, and they're all connected to the cholesterol molecule, not to mention vitamin D itself, which is the cholesterol molecule is used to create that vitamin D. Now, these are all like, I guess you could call it like deconjugation or what's the word with the fat? Desaturation, where there's a desaturation, and so it not only desaturates, but like it's got this well-distributed executive. Imagine like a fabric that has all these little diamonds in it, and those are the minerals, those are the magnesium, and so these things actually have an active principle on the material, which allow it to speed up metabolism, turn up enzymes that can degrade certain parts of the fats or this, that, or that they don't want, and keep the ones they do. But then the viscosity of the magnesium itself. Now, there's a viscosity because it holds a water molecule, the magnesium chloride. If you ever even touch the transdermal magnesium, you'll feel that same viscosity. It's not a smoothness. There's a gritty, a slight gritty texture, but that's good. That's the perfect type of smooth. It's like a smooth, but with the equal traction, where things can move in the right way, but not be overly permeable or overly smooth, which is like the case of leukemia and stuff like that. The red blood cells are too smooth, and so you want things to have a certain type of soul, I guess, character and shape that works, that's not deformed, but that's not completely, overly thinned out or smooth. So magnesium allows for that, not only at the level of the platelets, and it's well known that it creates this sigmoidal flexible structure. The magnesium allows for that flexible structure to offload and onload the oxygen of the hemoglobin molecule. So this is better oxygenation throughout the body, because otherwise that oxygen can be stuck to that structure. Like the bond can be 25,000 times stronger. And so the magnesium helps kind of undo the bond. It kind of helps in a preservation / slightly gritty viscosity, move along, traction plus viscosity kind of thing, and allows for a perfect system there at a mechanical level. A lot of people don't, it took a lot of studies for me to read to just be able to talk in this way, because I couldn't understand what it was doing. And so I had to read tons and tons of studies to go, wait, what is magnesium actually doing if I could just say one word? And it was like preservation, viscosity, active principle too, like the exchange, the spark of, all the conjugations that it does with other things. There's like it's a highly active spark for a lot of things in the body. So what else did I get down here? Yeah, it can increase metabolism. It can increase catabolism as well of other fats and other tissues and things that need to be removed. It's also well known. I mean, this is for cholesterol, but cholesterol is also, a lot of our toxins go out through the bile. And so these bile salts are also composed of cholesterol. And so they help break down a lot of the fats and from their good components to the bad to the vitamins, and it filters all that out when we eat. But it's also a way that we get things out, like those lipophilic toxins stick to that, and then we take it out through our stool. And so this is a way the body uses magnesium and all of its friends, like all of its conjugated enzyme reactions, to break down things like from aluminum, in the case of when it sticks to malic acid, magnesium malate, it sticks to the aluminum, and then that breaks down the aluminum, then the aluminum starts to be possible to get out through urine or through other emunctories. And so that can come through, like ammonia breaks down aluminum, and so there's ways to do that. So, and these things are ubiquitous in our society. They're everywhere. They're in the air and the water, and like they're finding cyanide now in different forms attached to aluminum, attached to everything in the air. And so we get this hypoxia, we have less, our lungs are affected, everything's affected. Even if you're not feeling it full on, like it's lowering potential, So there's a lot of things, vaccines, antibiotics, there's tons of things that have aluminum. Even soy has aluminum because of the way they process it. So it's ubiquitous. And so, a can of Coke, that all that all that aluminum and that acidity, that go right together, and you're just drinking that aluminum, So get away from that, stay with the glass, and so just know that the cholesterol has these other functions too. And so magnesium has been well known, well documented to lower low LDL cholesterol, which is what everyone is trying to do. So it's not only favorable with the status quo paradigm of cholesterol, which I'm not in agreement with, but it does help them too, so at the way they're seeing it, it still is helpful. So that's okay too. But it's also going to help in many other ways as far as the utilization of that cholesterol in the body and how that can be properly used. A lot of these questions we bump into are we think are qualitative, they're quantitative. Like the quantity of the cholesterol is less important than the quality of that molecule and what it can do. When the quality is right, through nutrient-dense foods and nutritional fats, high vitamin fats, like foie gras we just mentioned, but any of these, or the K2, for example, that supplement, but these high vitamin fats, these are going to be the key to not only traditional societies that were high in these fats, these types of fats that were vitamin-rich fats, but they're also going to be the key to health and fertility and everything else. So heart disease is the number one out there. We know magnesium helps with hypertension. We know it is a natural calcium channel blocker, and it pulls calcium, helps calcium, not destroy the cells or the tissues. And along with vitamin D, they work together. They should not be separate. They're all in there together, these deficiencies. They have to work together in synergy. And so this helps use the cholesterol properly as well through the vitamin D and how that pulls the calcium in. So all of this proper utilization is what's going to solve your problem here. And so I recommend the Threefold Remedy, and I also recommend just understanding these things and how magnesium plays into these things can be very important. Magnesium should be the first thing on your list. It should be a household product. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com. Only get the glass bottles. Do not get the fake stuff out there, Permian, Ancient, all this self-certified claim stuff in the U.S. with the USP grade. None of that stuff is good or real, and it's diluted and most of it's solvent extracted. So you need to get stuff that has the Zechstein inside logo, that actually comes from the source in Vendam in Holland, where they have the natural salt pillow formation of this. You can't recreate this elsewhere. It's like a natural magnesium chloride with nothing else added, and it comes from an old sea. And the word Zechstein is used abusively, so people use it to pretend that their stuff is coming from elsewhere than Asia or wherever it's coming from. And so you want to get the right stuff with the right logo in glass bottles, no endocrine disruptors. It's only $3 a week. Start it up, get yours going now. Find our other podcasts on the Threefold Remedy, which we don't sell, but like we're just trying to help people understand these things. So come check us out at theheartoftradition.com.